Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a lovely Baselworld 2010 debutante. This is the Patek Philippe Nautilus annual calendar, 5726A-001, 40.5 millimeters in stainless steel. It wears well on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference. It's not a thick watch, though it's not terribly thin, 11.4 millimeters. There's a lot going on inside this case, but it's worth it because it's 120 meters water-resistant automatic winding and an emblematic Patek Philippe original complication. That's right, the annual was invented by Patek in 1996 in a design penned by Gerald Genta in 1976. So you get Patek's own complication in Patek's most distinctive shape, and it wears quite comfortably. Though it is a broad watch, and if you measure it end link to end link, that is the outermost rigid component of the watch, you're going to find that it's a giant sounding 52.1 millimeters, which is far larger than the actual lug-to-lug dimension of the watch, but it does give you a realistic assessment of how broad the watch feels on the wrist. I would recommend it for a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference, and if you do want to wear it on a small wrist, this rubber strap is the way to go. It has the most inherent flexibility. Now, taking the strap off, I gave the game up a little bit. There are several different ways to own your 5726. You can get it on the full bracelet, which I recommend, but even if you do, I recommend you also get the rubber strap. It's designed to look both top and bottom like the leather strap that's offered, but it has that water-resistant element that allows you to enjoy the style and the comfort of a strap with the same water resistance you would get with a bracelet. You'll also appreciate the fact that it is a new Patek Philippe factory strap, and though we've anchored the buckle in place, you can see these apertures have never been gouged. You'll have the chance to do that. There's a deployant clasp here, and one feature I like about the strap is that it dodges the usual apologia I have to give about the pin sleeves in the Patek Philippe bracelet these days. So I love to just show you this lovely stainless steel clasp that can be resized and relocated using nothing but a screwdriver. This is great because if you have this watch on a bracelet, it can be an absolute pain to resize the pin sleeve bracelet. Here, all you need is a screwdriver and you can resize this watch to suit. And it has a twin trigger double deployant clasp that looks good internally and feels good on the wrist. Jumping back to the case, there's a lot of hand finishing here. There's a reason the Nautilus has an Aquanaut stablemate. The Aquanaut was designed to be a cheaper watch to manufacture and an easier one to build in volume. You could see just how much there is to the Nautilus case, how many components, top and bottom, how many different surfaces have been finished in how many different ways. You can see that polished hairline bevel on the flanks of the lugs on both sides. That's done by hand, and you can see it's perfectly symmetrical from side to side and corner to corner. You can see that bezel gasket narrowly expressed as a styling component of the watch, as it has been since the original reference 3700 Jumbo in 1976. You can see the clasp-like architecture of the winglets on either side of the case. In contrasting satin and polish, there's a lot going on, both in the assembly of the case and the finishing of the case, that adds to the value, the inherent value of this handmade watch. Now, the dial side is fairly familiar. Lateral striations. This one features a gradient fade from a sort of silver ardoise at the center, as IWC would describe it, somewhere between silver and gray with a metallic tinge, and then it's almost completely black at the edge. The striations run from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then you can see that there is a wonderful symmetry about this watch that's lacking on the 5711 or the 5712. You can split it down the middle. It has that bilateral symmetry. It's an annual calendar, so you only need to correct it once during the jump from February to March. And of course, you've got the day, you've got the date, you've got the month, you have a moon phase that's accurate to 122 years. So the moon phase actually needs to be adjusted less frequently than the calendar itself. And of course, you have the 24-hour indicator that lets you know when not to try to use these pusher adjusters to correct the calendar. That's your AM, PM, but it also gives you the ability to know when the watch is in that no-go danger zone, when it's turning over the date automatically. I should also mention that the timepiece, which beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, has a power reserve of 35 to 45 hours, and displayed across a series of white gold indices, applique of course, not printed, and white gold hands at center, providing the motive force and that potentially 45 hours of duration is Patek Philippe manufactured caliber 324. Quantième annuel, 24 hours. LU, lunar. You can see that the movement itself is nicely executed. The Patek Philippe seal is matched with a Gyromax free-sprung balance adjusted in 6 positions and a Spiromax anti-magnetic silicone hairspring. The result, in conjunction with the double P seal, is that Patek guarantees these watches to run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per day, far better than a chronometer. Automatic winding is unidirectional, more efficient than bidirectional, with ceramic rotor bearings, more efficient and longer lasting than lubricated steel. The movement, of course, beats away at that 4 Hertz, adjusted in 6 positions. It is a 34 jewel caliber, immaculately finished. You can see circular Cote de Genève across the rotor, linear across the bridges, perfectly aligned, black polished screw heads, and then you've got engine turn perlage both on the center of the rotor and in a larger engine turning on the base plate itself. Nicely executed, and of course, as I mentioned, 120 meters water resistant, a very swimmable all-purpose sports watch, beautifully executed by this watch, by a loop as well, because the detailing is worth it. See it and make it yours on the watch box. Patek Philippe 5726 annual calendar by night.